You're most welcome to Bravo Podcast. My name is Bravo. Once again, it's always a pleasure hosting different, amazing people. Today, we are hosting Rustica, Kemigisha, a great entrepreneur, a mother, and a great human being. When I say great human being, she has all those qualities of being a great human being. And if you're out there, ask yourself also, if you're one of those great human beings. Thank you for watching us and always being on our content. You're most welcome. Rustica, she is, as a mother, as an entrepreneur, she's going to tell us her story. How did she become an entrepreneur? I know some of you out there, you'll be asking yourself, how do I turn to an entrepreneur? Even when I have my other professional, qualifications or different fields, how do we become entrepreneurs? We want to see her journey of what made her to start doing what she's doing. Keep watching and you'll be amazed. You're most welcome. It's a pleasure hosting you.
Thank you so much, Brian, and thank you so much for that amazing introduction. Yes, like he mentioned, I'm Rustica Kemigisha, and I'm a development analyst by profession. I'm a mother of 3 amazing children. And thank you so much for hosting me and giving me this opportunity.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much. Would like to know brief about your background. We know you're a mother. You can tell us brief about your background if you're comfortable with that. And then we'll dive into the reality of entrepreneurship.
Yes, like you said, I'm married, one lovely husband, and I'm a mother of 3 amazing children, 16, 15, and 9 years old.
Yes, Ruth, tell us, Rustica, tell us about your brief background. I know so many people are watching, maybe they are OGs, your OBs. There are those who have lost touch with you, and here you are. And others may even have forgotten all about you because of changes, it happens. But when you mention the school, they relate very well. So tell us, which schools did you go to?
Yes, I started, I'm born in Ishaka, Bushenyi district. I didn't grow up in Ishaka. When I was 6, my paternal auntie, the sister to my father, picked me from my father's house and took me to Kilembe, Kasese.
Yeah.
She was a nurse in Kilembe Hospital. So she took me to Kilembe to stay with her. So that's why I started my nursery in Katiri Primary School. My OBs from Katiri, hello. And then after P7, I joined Weranyanji Girls Secondary School. It's in Bushenyi district, the E-grades, hello.
Yeah.
I did S1 up to S4 in Weranyanji Secondary School. Then for my S5 and S6, I went to Immaculate Heart High School, Nyachibare. It's in Rukonjiri district. From there, I attended Makerere University. I did a bachelor's degree in development studies. From there, after my bachelor's, I didn't spend a lot of time on the street. I was a very lucky girl, I could say. But going backwards, when I was still at Makerere University, they had admitted me for day program. But then I changed from day program to evening because I wanted to work. Growing up, I grew up in a humble family, and I really was so ambitious. I always wanted to better my life. I wanted to make my life better. So when I joined campus, it prompted me to look for something to do because I wanted that financial independence.
Yeah.
So I can say I started even work as early as campus, 19 years old.
Yeah.
Yes, that's when that's prompted me to change from day to evening so that I could have time to work. Yeah, so that's it.
Wow, amazing. As you talked about that you're married.
Yes.
You indicated that you're married to one
lovely husband.
Lovely husband.
Yes.
Are there those who are married to 2 lovely husbands?
I don't know. I'm talking about myself. I don't know about other people. So, but in my case, I was talking about.
Yes, she's saying she's married to 1 lovely husband.
Yes.
And her husband is?
Robert Mwesije.
Robert Mwesije. We would like to appreciate Robert Mwesije for taking care of this lovely wife of yours. And it's a great pleasure hosting your wife as well. So tell us, through school, after university, you got a job, you started working.
Yes. Actually, even before I joined campus in my S6 vacation, that's when even I looked for a job, because I grew up with that ambition, with that yearning to make my life better. The fact that I was from a humble family, I wanted to change my life. I wanted to change my story. I wanted to change the story of my entire family. So that's why I was so ambitious at that early age, wanting to better my life. And even growing up, there were the people around me, my uncles, they were officers that time in Bushenyi local government. So we used to look up to them. That time cars were not as common as they are now. So they would come, when they would come to the village back home, because Bushenyi, they used to work in Bushenyi town, and then when they would come to the village, and then they come driving those local government cars or even their private cars. So I would yearn, I would admire their lifestyle. So I worked so hard so that I could, have such a lifestyle. That's what pushed me even in my S6 vacation. I was like, no, I can't leave, because we grew up in the village. I grew up in the village after I came from Kasese, and then I joined Bweranyanji. Every time I would get my holidays, I had to go back to my father's house, and that was in the village. And then those village chores that you have to do, the gardening, the digging. I wasn't so comfortable in that. So that's why whenever these officers would come, my relatives, my uncles, then I would, admire their lifestyle, and I wanted that kind of lifestyle. So that's how I ended up talking to one of the friends of my uncle. We used to call him Uncle Fred. He was the probation officer of Bushenyi government that time. Uncle Fred, in case he watches this, thank you so much. He gave me that opportunity. He had a video library at that time in Bushenyi town. So he gave me an opportunity to come and work there in the video library. That's how I got my first employment. And then from there, the results came, and then I hadn't made it on government to campus. So my brother chipped in, my older brother, Chris Muganzi. Thank you so much for what you did. He chipped in and paid for my education at the university. Wow. So that's when I got to the university, and then I was still ambitious. I was still admiring the lifestyle of, the people around me. So I wanted to change my story. I wanted to change my life. That's how I ended up as like, no, I need to be financially independent. That's how I ended up, changing from the day program to the evening, so I could get that opportunity to work. So I had a friend that I was living with. She had given me that chance to live with her. So she had an uncle who, that time he was a big person in URA, I think. So he contacted Wavamono. Yes. Wavamono. That time he had a company, he's the head of GM Tampeko, yes. Yeah. So he said, well, they lied to him that I was a daughter to that uncle. Yeah. So he managed to secure me a job in GM Tampeko as a receptionist. Yeah. So that's how I got a chance to work in GM Tampeko and make my own money. Wow. So I was at campus, I was making my money, and I was loaded, at that time. I think they were paying me around, I think it was 100,000 every month. Which was too much by then. By those years, it was very good money. So that's how I started my journey of employment and, trying to better my life. Yeah. Yes. Wow. Guys, as you always watched our podcast, everyone talks about beginning at the age of 18, age 19, herself as well. You see the struggles she went through as a young woman. As parents, what do we learn from this? We know we have so many children out there. Some of you don't want your children to go and look for something to do, even when it is simple. Because at the age of 18, 19, 20, this is where we set up our base to start working harder. If you have a child out there, try to get something, something for a child to survive on at a young age. Because if they start undermining, because I've seen most children undermine jobs. Yeah. I had interviewed some of the children who left, they did their high school, and they had come just to have them on temporary basis. And someone comes and says, if you don't pay me 500,000, I would not work. It's not worth me.
Because look, this child looks at the pocket money the parent gives them at school, and then they tell them that per month you're going to earn less than even the pocket money. So some of them, I think, because of ego, and we've not been aligned by our parents, so that anything that comes your way at a young age, you're able to spark out. So I would like to appreciate you for that, and whoever you've appreciated, I'm sure they will be watching this and they'll be very, very happy to see the transformation. So after university, what was your first professional job? When you went out of university, even on GMs and papers and receptionist, what was your turning point of a good job that you had?
Yeah, after university, well, I GM Tampeco, I worked there in my first year, second year. Then when I came third year, of course, things became tough. There's a lot on your plate. You have a dissertation to do. You basically completing your years at university. So I gave up that job, and then I had to concentrate on my studies. So after university, I would say I was a lucky person. I wasn't on the streets for long. There was a microfinance that time called Stanhope Finance. It was owned by Indians. So I had this other friend, someone that I had gone to school with, my old GF. That's where she used to work. You know, like you bump into someone on the street, and then they tell you know, you're talking like, so where are you? She told me she was working with Stanhope. I was like, aha, I've completed campus. Is there any chance of me getting a job there? She said, oh yes, you bring in your application. I took my application there, and you know, with Indians, they didn't even interview me. They're like, you have the job, report on Monday. So I reported on Monday. I started, you know, Monday I reported, I started working as a cashier because it was a kind of bank setting.
Yeah.
So they gave me to work in cash. I was a teller. Yes, I worked there for maybe a year or 2 years. Maybe it could be a year and a half. That's the time, you remember Garden City? That's the time when Garden City had opened up, and it was like the big shopping center in the city. So one Saturday after work, we used to work from Monday to Friday. I mean to Saturday. So one Saturday, as we finished work, we arrange among among the employees. We're like, let's go out and check out this new shopping mall in town that has just opened up, and we check it out. So it so happened that after work, as we were moving into that shopping center, our bosses, the Indians, were also from the same shopping center. So we just met direct, like we were walking towards them, and they were walking in, they were walking out. So they looked at us, and then they talked among themselves in their language. We don't know what they were talking. So, well, you know, we said hello, hello, and everyone continued with their own thing. That was Saturday.
Yeah.
On Monday, as I reported back in office, they told me, Rustica,
No
no. They didn't say no job. They said, no, don't enter till. I said, why? I said, no, don't enter till. Sit right there. So I sat and waited. So they offer me a letter to fire me. They're saying that they've fired me. They couldn't give me any reasons. So it came to me that the time when they met us and they were talking, you know how, I'm sorry to say this, if I should say it.
You please feel
But
free.
you know how the Indians underestimate us, so they underrate us. They think maybe
you can't go to such a high
place.
Yes.
But you know, like, where are you getting the money?
Yeah.
So I suspect that could have been the reason, because I was doing my job well. I was always balancing. I was doing everything perfectly well until that day when they met me. And then after the weekend, they were like, you're fired. They gave me, I think it was 250,000 as, you know, like the compensation fee that they pay you when they fired you. So that's how my job in Stanhope Finance ended.
I think the problem you did is that you went to a place where your bosses were.
Exactly.
And your bosses didn't expect you to be at such high place.
Exactly.
And looking at that, they think maybe you were maybe you're taking their money.
Exactly. Yes. But which was not the point, because if you know how the bank works.
Garden City was, I mean, everybody would access Garden City.
Exactly.
At the time.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make, I was balancing if you're working in a bank, at every end of close of day, you have to balance. I was balancing, everything was okay. But anyway, I take that them firing me was a blessing in disguise, because it is when they fired me that I got the opportunity to travel out of the country. You know, that's when I got the opportunity to look for a visa. I had a friend who connected me to their brother, my husband now. That time he was living in the UK. and then they connected us. He was living in the UK already.
Yeah.
He was in London. So he was like, oh, by the way, why don't you come and check it out here, since now you don't have a job?
Yeah.
Why don't you come and see what it is like? I was like, this is a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
I did not realize how hard it was going to be
Yeah.
those days to
Yeah.
get a visa
Yeah.
to go to
London.
London. So yes, I still say that it was a blessing in disguise for me, because it opened doors for me to go abroad and explore.
Wow.
Yes.
So it's that process where they connected to a boyfriend.
Yes.
Who is your husband.
Yes.
So, and then you chose to go to the UK. So
Yes.
we would like to also know, you chose to go to the UK after losing your job.
Mm.
And then in this process, you had already connected with your boyfriend.
Yes.
You had never met him physically?
No, I hadn't.
You had never met him physically. And then you took a decision
Yes.
to plan and go to the UK.
Yes.
So were you going to the UK to start a new life? Were you going there to explore? What prompted you to go to the UK? To meet your husband and create a family in the UK? What prompted you to take that decision?
Yes. What actually prompted me, like I told you, me growing up, I admired people who are living I wanted a good lifestyle. I wanted a good life. I wanted to change my story.
Yeah.
So at the back of my mind, to be honest, I was like, now this is the opportunity for me to go and change my story.
And board a plane also.
And board a plane.
As it is, it is always in Africa that boarding a plane is one of the best.
Exactly.
And sometimes we find ourselves that we are the first person to board the plane in the whole family. It's an achievement.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at the back of my mind, I was like, now people who go for, those days, because now boarding a plane and now traveling it's like drinking water. It's for everyone now.
Yeah.
But those days, the years that I'm talking about, that was because I went to the UK in 2001.
Yeah.
So you can imagine those years, going abroad, it was like the deal, like they used to say, Nkuba Cheyo, like you're going on Cheyo, like it is greener pastures out there.
Yes.
So at the back of my mind, I was like, now this is the time for me to shine. I am going to change my life. Like I was imagining like everything is on a silver plate or a gold plate, if there is any gold plate, But I did not know that it is also hard out there. Like everything is not on a silver plate.
Yeah.
But for me, that was what was at the back of my mind.
The issue for you was to board the plane.
To board the plane
to the
and
UK.
Go and change my life by making money.
Yeah.
And money in pounds, in foreign currency.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
When you talk about boarding the plane, it reminds me of my story. My first time to board a plane was 25 years ago, which was the year 2000. And at that time, I was a small man, with my height, small. And then I used to suffer a lot, especially in Dubai transit, because as being black, you could be arrested anytime. I could be stopped along the way, and everybody would think, where are you going? And say, no, I'm a business person. I'm from Turkey for shopping. I'm going to Dubai for my shopping. Then at many times I was told, show money, show money. Those days, they would say, if you didn't have $2,500, then you'd not cross any borders. So it would be very difficult that in my going, I knew I would be arrested, taken to police, and coming back, I would also go through police coming back. At one time, I was arrested in Dubai, and I almost lost my flight because they thought that I was in Kuba Cheyo. I was looking for odd jobs. So when they arrested me and put me in police, one thing that saved me, they suspected my passport. They said, this is not you. So what I did, up to today, I respect having documentation on yourself. I pulled out my wallet. I pulled out my ID that I got my first PO box number. That time, post office was giving us IDs. So I got the post box ID, the old one. And I also had my high school ID by then.
Wow.
And I showed them that these are my old IDs with my names and everything. Because we couldn't communicate, the Arabs who speak Arabic, I don't know Arabic.
Yes.
So until almost when I was missing my flight, and somebody came who was, translating and released them and said, no, he's the genuine person. So if you talk about the boarding of the plane, the circus involved, it really relates with me. And I know so many people go through that, especially when you're black at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're crossing over, they think either you're going for odd jobs or they think you're not going for work or for studies. It's very difficult. But I think now the world is relaxing a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So You got your visa.
Yes.
Time for boarding comes.
Yes.
You land in London.
You're making it sound so easy.
Yes. Tell us if it was hard.
Getting the visa,
Yeah.
actually, why I said that them firing me from Stanhope was
Yeah.
a blessing.
Yeah.
Because those days, getting the visa, you see nowadays, you just send in your documents,
Yes.
your documentation,
Yes.
and you get your visa.
Yeah.
But that time, you
appear
had to
physically.
appear physically, and you had to line up.
Yes.
What am I talking up?
Lining from
up.
3 a.m.
I did not know that until the second time. So the first time I wake up 6. I used to live in Nakulavia by that time.
Yeah.
So I wake up. I think it was around 6. I was like, I think I made it early. It's 6:30.
Yeah.
I get a taxi. I don't know even how I went because that time the borders were not locked. So I get a taxi. I get to the British Embassy High Commission. That time it was still, where there was now there's CJs. But that time it was Nando's, so it was above there. To reach there, I couldn't even access it because there were like over 2,000 people in front of me. And you know what they do when it opens? When they open, they're like the first 100 people.
Yes.
So I missed out on that day. Wow. It was a miss. So they told me, someone spoke to me, was like, you want to have the interview the next day? Come at 3 a.m. I was like, you're kidding me. But
it was very horrible. Yeah, it was horrible.
That's what I did the next week. I waited the next week. I went, it was a Monday, and I went at 3 a.m. Brian.
Yeah.
In the morning. I lined up.
Yeah.
At least I was among the first 100 people. That's how I applied for my visa. Denied me the first time, denied me the second time. I got it on the third time.
In a space of how many months?
I can be maybe a space of 1 month.
1 month. So you kept on applying.
I kept on reapplying.
Yeah. What was the reason that you were giving to travel to the UK?
I had applied for a student visa.
Student visa.
Yes. I had applied for a student visa. But on my mind, I didn't know how the thing works.
Yeah.
But me, at the back of my mind, I was like, I want to go out and make money.
And make money, not about a student visa.
Yes, but yes, I got the student visa finally. Then I entered the UK.
Yeah.
Yes, I started. I went there, of course, as a student. That's what I'm saying. It was a blessing in disguise because I got there. I did my diploma in postgraduate diploma in business studies, as well as making the money. So I was studying and working as well.
It takes courage. It takes hard work. It takes resilience and not giving up. If she had given up on her first attempt on the visa, she would have been discouraged. I know some of you out there, you try out so many things and nothing works out. But there is always the right time. My only advice is don't give up. Keep pushing, and push again. And I'm sure that everything has its time to pick up. And you can't fail as long as you have the resilience. So, you land in London.
Yes.
Your boyfriend, your husband today,
yes,
is happy to receive.
Oh, excited.
The girl he has never met because you had never met before. Yes, so were you anxious meeting a man you have never met and in a foreign land where you didn't have any relative of yours?
I wouldn't say that we had never met physically, but we were, before I left, he was helping me through talk, we would do the talk on phone, we would chat, so we were like, I wouldn't say, yes, we were talking a lot, so I felt like I knew him more, and yes, and the person who had introduced him to me was a close friend, so I had that confidence. And even then, when you're so ambitious about something, I wasn't even thinking about that. I just wanted to change my story. Yes, I was so ambitious, so that even I wasn't thinking about that. So I get there, he was excited to see me. He helped me to settle in and, told me how everything works and the process and how everything works. He was really of so much help.
Wow. Yes. Wow, it's an amazing story.
Yes.
Wow. What are you learning from her story? I am sure there's something that you're picking. Whenever I share all these stories, my podcast is that we want you to be out there wherever you are, in your sitting room, in your workplaces, everywhere. Pick something. You may not pick everything we speak here, but I believe when you pick one or two, it will not leave you the same. Now, in London,
yes,
everybody who leaves Africa,
yes,
is like, I am not going back to Africa.
Yes.
How did you manage to live in London? And how long did you live in London? And how did you manage to get back to Uganda? Because everyone feels their dreamland
Yes.
is either USA
Yeah.
or Canada
Yes.
or UK.
Yes.
How did you manage to get back to Africa?
So I went to London. I was so excited. Everything was new. And as I don't know, I think I've grown up to be a lucky person. Like
Yeah.
my name says,
Yeah.
Kemigisha. Kemigisha means
Yeah.
blessings.
Yeah.
When I got to London, I first enrolled in an agency, employment agency. So I was getting those. When you're in an agency, you get those casual jobs. When an employee calls in when they are sick or they are not coming in to work, then they call an agency for them to provide someone to cover them. So I got into this agency, and then they posted me into a university. Remember, I'm a graduate.
Yeah.
And then they post me into a university. Someone called in sick maybe that day.
Yeah.
And guess what they had asked me to go and do in that university? Would you guess?
Maybe cleaning.
Exactly.
Because most of us, when you go out there, you're either exposed to being a janitor, and cleaning.
Yes.
Yes, as you see, these are the jobs. I mean, these all jobs have made our families proud, by the way.
Yeah.
I know so many people out there, if you're watching from the UK and you're working as a janitor, or you're working as a cleaner, you're working as a security guard, you're working in a, please be proud of that job, because it puts food on your table. I always tell people, be proud of that job, because it puts food on your table. Even these children, I've always had people underrate our girls that go to Saudi Arabia, go to Dubai and work. But I say, if any job transforms someone's life, I respect it, because it has transformed somebody's life.
Absolutely.
So to me, jobs are jobs, as long as it brings in some dollars.
Yes.
So you work as a cleaner?
That's when the reality hit in.
Yes.
I am in this big university, and I'm just a graduate as well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, excuse me, I am here to clean after these students.
Yeah.
But I said, well, Rustica, you came here to look for the money.
To change the life.
To change your life.
Yeah.
So I did the cleaning. And you know what? What amazes me, you can say that it's just a cleaning job.
Yeah.
But do you know that also that cleaning job, they want you to be having experience and qualifications?
Of course.
Yeah, but I was lucky. I did not go through that process because the agency just took me and I went there. So, well, I did the cleaning. It was just the kitchen, and then their rooms, and then their washroom as well. It was, like it's a hostel.
Yeah.
So I did that cleaning. Maybe like the person was off like for maybe a week, and then that was it. But the good thing, I kept on applying. I kept on going on the internet and applying for different jobs. So I wasn't in that agency for long.
Yeah.
So I applied, and I got another job as a cashier in a grocery store. Yeah. And it was just within my neighborhood. So it was fantastic. I was saving on transport, and this was a better job, of course.
More decent. To
More
work in
decent,
a grocery.
exactly, and a cashier. So I was like, oh yes, you're beginning to make it. So the pay was good. Yeah. So I tried, and at the back of my mind, I remember what had brought me there.
Yeah.
To change my story.
To change our story.
Yes.
Guys, in Africa, we are lucky that we grow up in a hustling way.
Yes.
I think that's why they found you better in your cleaning, because we grew up in families when you're cleaning. Yeah. To here, we consider it as hard labor.
Yes.
But you see, when you grow up in hard labor, see how it helps you to survive in another environment. Yes. Soft life sometimes is not good. We all need soft life. We all need soft life for our children. But I think that this soft life cannot take us anywhere. At one point, there's that turning point.
Yes.
Where we need, that hustling.
Yes, and even the people who are in that soft life, they've worked hard for that soft life.
Probably. They have elevated themselves. Exactly. They're from somewhere to somewhere as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is amazing. Now, when you get to the grocery, how long did you work in the grocery shop? And because that was the first decent job to you.
Yes.
Grocery. Yeah.
That I worked there for the entire time, like the next 3 years,
Okay.
because I was there for 4 years. So
Yeah.
for the next 3 years, I worked in that
The same
grocery.
place. Yeah.
But the good thing, I was making it up. I
Yeah.
started as a cashier,
Yeah.
and then I was elevated to a supervisor.
Supervisor,
So
yes.
now things were even getting more better pay, better benefits. So I was, enjoying life, and I was trying to save. I was always
And you were
trying to save.
determined to change
I
your
was
life.
very determined to change my life.
So imagine she left Uganda when she had her bachelor's. That's
Yes.
degree. But sometimes I found it difficult that even the qualifications we have,
Yes.
when you get to USA, you get to Canada, they don't look at that qualification.
Never.
They actually get you back as somebody who never went to school.
Yes.
And the best way to go through this is to accept, to go down and then strike again, because they don't believe in our universities. And that's where we lose out all this chance, and because we've not been brought up in their system.
Yeah.
But again, in the British, the education system here is British. But if you go to them, still you will not be put at that level. Let's look at, did it demoralize you as a girl child, or as a person who went to the university in Uganda? You already have your university, but now you go to a country where you've become a cleaner, from being a cleaner to even a grocery attendant.
Yes.
Who is a shop attendant. Because I've seen people always say, undermine shop attendants as well as small odd jobs. Still at that level with your bachelor's,
Yes.
you are still an ordinary. Did it demoralize you? Did it discourage you? And again, you can also give us a brief about how was your husband, by then boyfriend, supporting you through this process?
I can't say that it demoralized me. Never. Because even though you would say that I was a shop attendant, this is a big store that we are talking about. If I say a grocery store, don't imagine these supermarkets of yours. It is a huge store, and we are over 20 or 30 cashiers on the tills.
So now you come back from London, and now you are in Arua Park.
Yes.
At Arua Park, was it easy for you?
Brian, you can imagine those two environments.
Yeah, from London, you boarded a plane. Now you come to the data place. Sorry to use it, data is not a data place, but it's a very fast place.
A very fast
place. And
So I come, we had the good thing, we had secured the house, we had bought our first home, he had bought our first car. So basically life was fantastic. We're living in our own house, we're having a car. So I come, he takes me to that place. Business was booming. But the good thing, I had always, the fact that I was in retail over there in London, actually that's why I picked all my training from. The fact that I was, for those 3 years that I was there, I was working in the retail world. So I picked up, they have a great customer service. Like you have traveled, you know how their customer service is. So I had picked a leaf. I had picked the way they do business. So I was like, if I go back home and apply this that I have learned, I definitely will be successful. But I did not know what was coming for me. I didn't realize that there are two completely different worlds. So yes, I come, the shop, and guess what we were selling? He had, that time there was Sadolin. Now I don't know, it has changed to Plascom. But that time it was Sadolin paints. So he had secured a dealership from Sadolin. So that is what we were selling in the shop. When we had a dealership of Sadolin. So actually the salesperson that they had given to us to help us, the salesperson from Sadolin that they had given to us to help us settle in and tell us how the business works. He sat down. He's called Kato. I don't know, Mr. Kato, if he ever watches this. He sat with us in the shop. It was a big shop full of so many kinds of, jerrycans and tins of paint. He sat with us. He said, "Excuse me, guys. You said you used to live in London?" We said, "Yes." So he said, "Make this clear for me. You came from London
to come and sell paint.
Come here and sell paint." He couldn't get it. It was like people are always fighting to go to abroad. London.
And for you?
But you want to tell me you came from London to come here and sell paint?
Even in Arua Park?
At Arua Park.
Of all places.
Of all places. We said, "Mr. Kato, yes, we did." He didn't add anything. He couldn't understand us. So that is the time that business was really booming. That is when the war in South Sudan had just ended. That time, that was around 2007, 2008, 2007. So business was booming. So people who started, like I said, the fact that I had gained different training in retail. So I sat in this shop with paint as a dealer of saddling, but the place where I am was actually the wrong place to sell that product. That place was good for different groceries, foodstuffs. So now I started studying. I was like, hey, so what goes here is not this. So now I started stocking the foodstuffs, posho, biscuits, all those things, the foodstuffs that the Sudanese were coming and they were buying in bulk, Brian. Business was booming. So I was like, yes, we are doing it. So that's how my entrepreneurship journey started here in Uganda.
Wow. This tells that we should never undermine any jobs that we pick up.
Absolutely.
What do you learn from her story? That our jobs can set us to the greatest. If you had gone to London and undermined going to a grocery, and for you wanted white-collar jobs, probably you'd have missed out, because these jobs give us the real training of what we go through in our lives. Some people, I'm sure there's some ladies out there whom you say, can you go and do this? She says, no, I'm high class, I can't do this, because she feels she has her bachelor's, she has her master's, and she can't do such kind of job. And you forget that these jobs of entrepreneurship actually have the greatest training. If you realize it, most of the entrepreneurs have their story behind. Either they were employed in the shops, or they helped out someone, or they were doing something, and they end up going that way. So it's an amazing story. I know people would be surprised and say you're in Arua Park of all the places.
Yes.
So we've not talked about the children, because you have a husband. And had you given birth by then?
No, I hadn't.
Yes.
Actually, that was also us returning. Yes, we wanted to come and settle here and also begin a family. So when we came back, that was 2000, May I returned late 2006, 2007, we get married. Officially, we get married, we have our wedding. It was fantastic. My London friends came over. It was a beautiful wedding and a beautiful start. And I mean, life was
young
moving.
And vibrant.
Yes, and life was moving.
How many years had you spent with your husband before you?
3 years, I would say.
3 years, then you gave birth after 3 years. I know common.
Yes, I gave birth in 2008.
2008.
Yes.
I know in Africa, when somebody marries or gets a girlfriend, the first thing, even 3 months, I need a baby. I need a child. So, but your husband had moved and knew that by the time you take a decision to ask for a baby, you need to be somewhere and set up as a couple very well. So if you're out there and you're getting married, doesn't mean that you get married today, tomorrow you give birth. No, get married, first enjoy your husband, first enjoy your courtships, even marriage. And then after 3 years, even when you're married, then you can go ahead and have babies. And for us, our relatives, they always ask babies, even after getting married in 3 months, they say, are you pregnant? That's common in our cultures. So they always also put us on pressure, puts men and women on pressure to get babies. So out of that, when you started stocking foodstuffs,
yes,
I knew a child came in.
Yes.
How did you manage?
It was tough.
Yeah.
It was very tough because I am someone who is a perfectionist. I always say that I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah.
So when I had my first child, I now put business. I wouldn't say that I put business on hold, but like any other person, if you're working and you give birth, because I worked throughout my pregnancy until the last day of giving birth. Yeah. So when I gave birth, I was waiting maybe 3 months. I was like, in my heart, I was like 3 months and then I'm good. I go back to work. Yeah. But I didn't know what was coming for me. Yeah. So I was home with my child, 3 months passed. And moreover, the house help that we have here, before we didn't have children. So when the child comes in, it's like, you know what, I can't handle this. Then there was that pull and back, house help coming in and going. And then I remember even I spent like a full year without house help. Yeah. You can imagine, you have a child with no house help. Not that you can't afford, but because they were not, I don't know what was wrong that time. They were not in, they were like, you have a baby, I can't handle. So now that's how I ended up putting business on hold. Yeah. indirectly,
Yeah.
not that I had intended to.
Yeah.
So the business, the fact that my husband was busy with the money lending, he couldn't, he couldn't run both. So somehow that's how now my business at Arua Park came to an end, because I wasn't giving it time. I was giving time to the family now, to the child that I had then, because even then, that's when I got pregnant with the second child
at 3 months again.
3 months of
after the first child is 3 months, you got pregnant again?
No, I didn't. No. It was my children are 1 year apart.
Yeah.
So it wasn't after 3 months.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
but it was
another
child sets in, and now I'm like, let me take care of the children.
Yeah.
But still with my entrepreneurial, because the fact that I told you that I love good things.
Yeah.
I love a good life.
Yeah.
I love an easy life. You said easy life is not good.
It's not.
Easy life is good when you
have the
money.
It's not cheap, are they?
It's not cheap. So even then, when I was home with my children, with those young babies, bringing up the children, I was like, I must do something.
Yeah.
That's when I used my cousin in the UK to get a contact. She was like, by the way, I met this guy and he makes bags. He has a line, a whole line of handbags, ladies' handbags. I was like, now I have what to do. She gave me the link. I went onto the online. I looked for the different kind of handbags. That's now the entrepreneurship in me.
Yeah.
Looked out all the handbags, made the different choices, sent her the money. She purchased the handbags, put them on Salabed, Salabed, air cargo.
Yeah.
Within no minute, they were here. Now I have this about 60 or 100 handbags in my house with 2 children, remember, with 2 babies, but this time with house help. So now I started advertising. Now I sell bags. And I remember that time even WhatsApp was not yet here. I even wonder how I did it. But somehow, exactly, through friends, I would say I sell bags. People who would come to see the baby, I bring the handbags. I pair them there in the sitting room. They choose. So in the meantime, I'm also making money from where?
Home.
From home.
Right from home.
Yes. Then when I would get time, that time even I didn't have a car. What I did, I would call my sister. She had a very nice car. Brusa, bless you. You did it for me.
Yeah,
she had a very nice Pajero. She would give me her car. I put in my bags. Where there is a social event, I'm there. I become a Mutembei. Even I remember there's where I went once and I found there my OGs. They were just, some OG was looking at me like, no, not wanting. I'm not going to say their name. She didn't want to associate like
because she saw you turn into a hawker.
A hawker,
because hawking, I know so many people say, oh, he's a hawker. I was a hawker myself. And these are things that we do out of courage because you love what you're doing. Through hawking, many people have become great people through hawking. I've been a hawker as well before. When somebody calls you, deliver for me this, you're a hawker. And let's appreciate our work, our jobs, because they put food on our table. So you started selling bags in the car boot.
In the car boot, yes. In the car boot, in the offices. I would go there with my, they open the boot and they choose. Amazingly, I sold all the handbags and they were done.
And you made your money.
I made my money. I'm taking care of the family. I am working from home. I'm getting money. Family is moving. The children, I'm there for them. Fantastic.
Yes. And I know so many people out there saying,
yes,
I'm home. What can I do?
Yes.
I'm a house mother. What can I do? Guys, let's learn something out of her story. And I'm sure that a mother who is out there, there are mothers in the house, they have the money, but they can't have the idea of what they can do. So in this case, I'm sure you're picking a leaf. Thank you. Now, as you sell your bags, I am sure that this led you to another thing. Guys, now we're going to see what she went to again, from the handbags to now becoming a ghee seller. When I see a ghee seller, not just selling ghee, but making it herself. Tell us how you started, how you chose to go back to the food stuff now, and how did you start up making the ghee that we all know about? That's great ghee. If you're out there, you could support her. If you could look at her, you'll contact her. I will give her contact. She makes very nice ghee. And people from Mankole, people from Uganda, I know you like ghee. She's the person behind Lucy
Rustica food.
Rustica foodstuffs. And among that brand is where her ghee was born. Tell us the journey of starting your ghee business.
Yes, like I said, now I had made it in my mind, like if my children begin school,
Yeah.
then I can go to work. Now remember, there are two.
Yeah.
So the two started school. There was a break there.
Yeah.
When the two went to school, remember now I have three children,
Yeah.
but now that time I had two. So I waited, doing the bag business until the children went to school.
Yeah.
Then when they joined school, I was like, now I think I'm ready to do something else.
Yeah.
So now I go into mobile money.
Yeah.
That's the time that mobile money came in.
Yeah.
I get a line, MTN line, agent line. I didn't actually even have the money, but I contacted a friend, though she died, Maudia, the late Maudia, may her soul rest in eternal peace. Amazingly, she gives me 20 million. Like, who does that? You see how what I was saying, that I would say that I am blessed, like my name suggests. She comes home. That time my husband had gotten a very terrible accident. So he was down. He had gotten a very terrible accident. He had broken his leg. So he was down, he wasn't working, and life was really hard.
Yeah.
So in the process, that lady who died, Maudia, she comes home to see us. She's like, how are you guys doing it? You need to do something. I was like, I'm looking for something to do, but I have this idea, mobile money. I already have the lines, but I don't have the capital.
Yeah.
She was like, don't worry. I have money that I can give to you. I don't want any interest. I'm just giving it to you as a friend. Tomorrow, it was a weekend, it was a Sunday. She was like, tomorrow morning.
Is this Maudia who used to work at Parliament Avenue?
Yes.
Maudia, the shop?
No,
she used to have a shop there?
No, she wasn't. She was a lawyer, actually.
Okay.
She was a lawyer.
Yeah.
But I think most people know her. Yes, she was a lawyer. And she used to live within the same area in Nadia Estate.
Yeah.
So she was like, that Monday, I have that money. I will give you the money.
Yeah.
I didn't even think she was serious. Yeah. But actually, she did. She gave me her 20 million. Can you imagine? No interest, no agreement.
Just start your business.
Then I had a sister-in-law who, like now I'm going back to the cleaning job of London.
Yeah.
I had a sister who used to work in Kalere Market that time. But remember, my husband is down. He's not working. Even he had businesses that he was running. He had different, these tippers that go and carry
sand and
stuff. So that was not enough. I was like, I need to do something. So that's how now I say I contact. My husband contacts the sister, my sister-in-law, says, can you give us, in your shop, a space where my wife can sit and do something there. That's how I enter Kalere Market now.
You go to Kalere Market?
I go to Kalere Market with my agent lines.
Yes.
I sit, I put my signpost, mobile money. Amazingly, Brian, in the whole market, it is me with the big float. Because remember, mobile money, they're always looking for people who have the float.
Yeah.
That's how I started the mobile money business. I am sitting there, working there myself.
Yeah.
And business was booming, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was making money. I had the float. Though I was not comfortable there, I was like, this ain't my place. This is not my place.
Yeah.
But the fact that I wanted survival, we needed to survive.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up there. And I worked there for some time. I think maybe it could have been a year, and then I left.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was tough because Kalere.
It was very.
These people were very fast and very, very at a certain speed.
Yes.
In all this situation you went through, were you not regretting why you left London?
Yes.
At one point?
Yes.
Didn't you regret with your husband why you left London back to Uganda?
I think I did, but my husband, he's a very positive person.
Yeah.
Very, very positive and hardworking.
Yeah.
What he sets his mind to do, he does.
Yeah.
Me, in my heart, I started regretting. I was like, I think we made a mistake.
Yeah.
He kept on saying, no, we did not make a mistake. This is a season.
Yeah. Of what
this season will pass.
Will pass, yes.
And everything will go back to normal.
Wow.
So I was in Kalere. He was still down, I finished Kalere. I left Kalere. I was like, no, I think this is the time for me to do what?
Go back home.
Leave, to go back home. I went back home. I think that time for him, now he had gotten better and he had started now also as a man going back to work, looking for something to do. So I was home, and then now I get the third child. So now remember, my process is when I get a child, I
Yeah.
stop work, I
Take care of
take
this
care of the
first.
child,
Yeah.
because no one else can take care of my child
Yeah.
like I can.
Yeah.
Took care of this child, 3 years. She goes to school. I'm like, now I'm ready again to begin again.
Yeah.
So that's how the foodstuffs now came in. I had a friend, she's a distributor of, not distributor, they are the owners of Mega Milk.
Mega Milk, yes.
Yes, Carol. Carol, big up. Bless you, sis.
Thank you.
So I was talking, you know how you can be in your phone. You're like, oh, by the way, I'm looking for something to do. She was like, we have been looking for someone to distribute, to be our distributor, that side of Chiwatule, Ntinda, all that area. Namugong was like, I am here. They already had a depot there. There was someone running it, Gerard, but now Gerard was leaving. And so that's how I come in. And I start being a distributor of milk and yogurt of Mega Milk.
Yeah.
So as I was in this business, and I was like, finally, I now have something to do. It was, booming. Yeah, the sales were good. And then that is the time that, no, was it time of COVID or not yet? I think it was not yet COVID. It was not yet COVID. COVID hit when I was already there.
Yeah.
So I was working, and then I had a cousin of mine who said, now that you're selling milk and yogurt, then you should add everything that goes with
Milk,
that, with milk,
the dairy products.
the dairy products.
Yeah.
That's how she introduced me to the ghee and ishawe.
Wow.
Yes.
Ghee and eshawe is most people from Western Uganda and even Central, they like eshawe and they like ghee. So as you see all these jobs you've gone through, it takes courage, guys, to be, versatile. I like to be versatile. But when you're versatile, everywhere you're planted, you germinate, guys. But when you choose to, to undermine some of the work, and then you end up failing in life.
Yeah.
How did you start making the ghee?
Yes, like I said, when Sharon introduced to me to that cow ghee, I was like, actually, I have been looking for ways of expanding on this business, because this is just one product, I would say, because it was yogurt and milk, but from one company. So I was looking of having different, when you have different kinds of businesses, okay, different, if you're selling different products, that means you have more market, more income coming in. So that's how I started. She introduced me to the ghee, gave me a supplier. So she would bring, and me, the fact that I had picked those the retail training, the retail traits from the UK, I said, how can I make my product different? People always bring ghee and they sell it in Kavera. So to me, that wasn't appealing. I was like, I need to do something to it. So that's when I would bring it, then I would repackage it, make the packaging better. And then people started knowing my ghee. I even started supplying in different supermarkets. So that's how I, started.
Can I have one of the who trained you? Did you know how to make this ghee formally? Because I know Westerners, we grow up knowing how to do these things.
Yes.
Was it from your home background, or you chose to go through the training to make sure that you produce this kind of ghee? Guys, you could support her. She does very great ghee. It is Rustica Investment Limited. That's her brand. And this is one of the best organic ghee. When we talk about organic ghee, it's the real ghee of ours. How did you do this? Where did you go for training, or you had it background in your family making this ghee?
Yes, my mom is a Muhima, my late mom, because she passed last Christmas. May her soul rest in peace, mom. She's a Muhima. So Bahima, these are their products.
Is part of normal.
So growing up, I would see her, make how she would make the ghee and stuff. But I did not go through training. Like I said, my cousin already had someone that she connected me to, who was able to supply the big quantities of that ghee. So she connected me to that person in Kazo. That's where I get the ghee from.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. This is her brand. This is what she makes. And this is what she put out for people who do want to have good ghee. If you're a lady out there, there are so many things you can sell. There are so many things you can do. We grew up, all of us, knowing how to make mats, how to make so many things in our home states. And we all have our circles that we can start getting things to done. Apart from ghee, I happen to know that you also do honey.
Yes.
How do you package your honey? Let me look at your honey.
Yes, the honey.
Yes, she also does very good honey.
It's organic honey as well. It is
Yes.
from Moyo.
From Moyo.
Yes.
Of course, if you look at Moyo, has the best honey.
Yes.
Moyo, that part of West Nile.
Yes, that's West Nile.
They have very good honey, and this honey is pure honey without adding anything as well. If you go to any supermarket, you get Rustica Investments. That is her brand. And should you have any complaints, write to me. We shall replace that honey you've bought, or that ghee you've bought wherever you buy it. We shall go ahead and replace it for you. So in this journey of making this yourself,
yeah,
do you get involved in making sure that this package is done perfectly?
Yes. I am the one who does the packaging.
Yeah.
Even that honey that you see, they bring it in the honeycombs.
Yeah.
So we sieve it.
Pure it, you purify it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We sieve it and I package it myself.
Yeah.
I'm the one who is involved in the packaging myself.
Yeah.
I make sure everything is to dot and the way I want it. But adding on that, the shabwe I do myself. It is that same friend of mine, the one who introduced me to the ghee, was like, actually, Judith, the owner of this Nalia motel.
Yeah.
She was my very good customer of the ghee that you eat in the Katogo.
Yeah.
I am the one who supplies her that ghee.
Yeah.
So she had an event. I think they had an Quinjira event. So she reaches out to me. She's like, by the way, Rustica, you sell ghee. I want shabwe. Do you do shabwe? Remember now the entrepreneurship in me.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell her I don't do shabwe.
Yeah.
I tell her, yes, I do.
Yeah.
How much shabwe do you want? She told me how much she wanted. I said, let me get back to you. Now I give a call to Sharon, my cousin, the one who had introduced me to that ghee. She's my first cousin. So she's also a Muhima. So I called her and said, now my client wants a shabwe. Remember, I don't know how to do shabwe. What do we do? She said, that time I had a depot of the mega yogurt and mega milk in Charwajara. She said, I'm coming there. She came with everything. She taught me how to make shabwe. Wow. That's how I started to make shabwe. Judith was my first customer of shabwe. Yes.
Well, it's amazing, guys. Like as she has shared her story from London, back home, not deported, not frustrated, but she chose to get back to Uganda. And she started doing her business. And she's doing great business. She's packing honey, she's doing the ghee, and she's doing shabwe. If you're out there and you like shabwe for your functions, for your home, maybe on a Sunday, you're like, I want to take shabwe, where do I get it? She has very good, clean shabwe. As you know that shabwe, you make an order, and it is made, and it is delivered to you. So guys, support Rustica Investment, support her hustle. I don't always call it, side hustle or whatever, but that's her business. Support a woman, and I'm sure she'll be able to give you the quality honey, ghee, and the shabwe that you want. Now, apart from your entrepreneurship, ladies out there would want to know, as a mother of 3, how do you juggle through all these and still remain as you are? Because some others say, I have a lot of work at my house because I'm a mother.
Yeah.
How do you manage to mitigate all these and successfully do your business?
Yes, that's how actually I ended up with all these products, because I was looking for something that I can do that gives me money and as well gives me time for the family, for the children, because the children need me. I have to be there. I'm the mother. I have to nurture them. So that's how I ended up now saying that I need to sell online. So I started advertising these products online, and that was giving me time to take care of the children as well as making money. So I don't believe, because sometimes when you have this 9-to-5 job, and I'm not saying that a 9-to-5 job is bad, but if you have such a job, it is very hard to juggle between, family job. And job and everything. So for me, this was perfect for me. It gives me my time. It gives me time for the children, and still I'm making money. I'm financially independent. Yes.
Yeah, the financial independence of women. Remember, I hosted Judith as well, and she talks about the kamane for the woman. So if that kamane for you, as a woman, you need your kamane, and you need, of course, the husbands, don't forget to support your wives as they're trying to also make sure they have the financial independence. And I wish that every person there trains their daughters That's the most important thing in life, is to also have financial independence, as it is very, very important as well. So thank you so much. It's a pleasure hosting you, and I'm very, very humbled. And in a few words, as you're parting shots, look into the camera and tell that woman who is in the house, who says she can't do nothing, what would you tell her?
Yes, what I would say to that lady, you can do anything, and you don't need a lot of money to do something. Even with 1 million, even with 500,000, just look for something that you can do, something small. You know, you don't have to produce that something. You can go downtown, get shoes, you know, get the shoes at 10,000 and sell it at 20. You know, at one point in my life, I was doing backyard farming. I would grow vegetables in my compound and sell them in my residential market. You know, like, do something. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need 200 million. You don't need 1 billion. Yes, if you grow to that 1 billion, it is good. But I believe in starting small. You know, even with the 1 million, sell something, do something that you're passionate about. That is the most important.
Wow, thank you so much, guys. It's a pleasure. And I'll share her contacts. I would like her to share her contacts. If you call her, just say, I watched your podcast with Bravo, so that she can know that you watched and you'd want to consult her. She will give you a free guidance. She can take you through training. You can consult her. She may maybe charge you some little money for consultation if she wishes, but if you want to hear from people who are doing the real things, everybody I bring you here is doing what they're doing. You can always learn from somebody who is doing what they're doing, and I believe they're able to give back to the communities, to the women out there, to the ladies. You may be in your house, you have the money, but you don't know what to do with it, and you don't want to also be idle or be home when you have nothing you're doing. And yet, we can always do something for ourselves or for yourselves as women. So thank you so much. Give us your number, please. If you don't mind, you can get her contact, and then you'll be able to contact her as well.
Yes, my numbers are 0774 329 633. I'll say that again. It's 0774 329 633. That one is on WhatsApp, or you can also call me on Airtel 0703 534458.
What are your social media handles? Do you have Facebook? Do you have Twitter? Do you have Instagram?
Yes, I am on Facebook. You can follow me on Ruth Mwesige.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. It's a pleasure always being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.